Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch affairs.
It's probably the least sexy part of the work, and I don't That's okay. No. The truth is...
Picture the year 1924. The air is thick with the scent of coal smoke and the electric energy of a decade on the move. But away from the smoky jazz clubs of the big cities, a different kind of revolution was traveling the rails of America's East Coast. It was the Chautauqua circuit, a traveling roadshow of culture, education, and entertainment that brought the world to small town doorsteps. And at the heart of this world is Bertha Birdie Stauffer, a young woman with a trombone in her hand and a rare, shimmering gift in her breath. She's a concert whistler. Seeking to escape the suffocating expectations of her family, Birdie joins the all-female versatile quintet, embarking on a journey of smuggled whiskey, forbidden romances, and the fierce, complicated bond of sisterhood. And today, we're joined by Melora Fern, the author of the stunning debut historical novel, Whistling Women and the Crowing Hens. Inspired by a real-life box of her grandmother's mementos, Melora has revived a forgotten corner of American history. So we're diving into the roaring 20s, which to me was the best time for music. You didn't learn about in history class, a world of independence, ambition, and the music that set women free. Melora, welcome to the show. How you doing? We're finally getting this done.
Yes, and thank you. That was the best intro I've ever had. That was amazing.
Well, thank you. Look, when we connected at first, I saw this book, and I'm being a DJ, well, retired DJ now. Big band era was always my favorite, and the Roaring 20s you just could not beat, in my opinion. And I saw this, and whistling to me is a dying art, and of course, when I think of whistling, I always think of Bing Crosby.
Right.
Hell of a whistler. But I didn't know about the concert whistlers.
Right. Yeah.
And I saw
unknown.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, this is going to be good. So before we get into the book,
okay,
I have to ask you, because originally you were a CPA, right?
Yes. I call myself a recovering CPA.
A recovering CPA. Now, are you still working full time, or?
No, I'm retired from accounting work. Yeah.
From accounting work, not retired. Yeah. Retired.
Not well. Yeah. I still am writing, so I'm still.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, but you're too young to be retired. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, what made you decide to write this book? Because that's a big switch.
It's a huge
basically
switch.
Numbers to letters. I mean,
yes, left brain to right brain.
Yeah.
No, I never intended to be an author. But what made me switch was I found this. Well, I've always been an avid reader, and I've always had high respect for authors and reading and everything. But I found this, like you mentioned, this box of mementos from my maternal grandmother at a time when I was, had retired from my clients and my kids had moved out, and I was looking for things to do kind of. So, and I just found the story so fascinating. I'd never heard of concert whistlers.
Right.
I'd never heard of Chautauqua. So I tried to write my grandma's story, and I couldn't because I didn't have enough information about just her. Mm-hmm. But the more research I did, and I love to research.
Yeah.
So the more research I did, I thought, this is a great story and it needs to be told. And so the characters started forming in my head, and I started writing, and it was really, really bad because I was an accountant. Very flat and, all that. So I thought, okay, I can do this. So I started going to writers' workshops and online courses, and just, I worked really, really hard to learn the craft of writing over many years. Mm-hmm. And then here we are.
It's something you mentioned there, and I have to I mean, this is very smart on your part, because there are a lot of authors or aspiring authors that will not research it because depending on what they're writing. But even if you're writing, I don't know, fiction or whatever, you still have to do the research, because people will call you out on it. If you write something like just a small idea, but let's say you write something about a certain town, and you write that they're walking down the tar, or the weather's so hot, the tar from the road is sticking to their feet. People will call you and say, those roads have never been tarred. It's always been cobblestone.
Right.
So, I mean, good for you for doing the research.
Yeah. No, it was very important for me to make it as authentic as I could. So every town in the book, I did a lot of looking at old maps, talking to people who actually lived there, going there if I could, that kind of thing. Because it was really, really important for me to have it be as accurate as possible. So.
And I want to talk about this forgotten art of concert whistling.
Okay.
So what actually drew you to this specific, I want to say not almost lost talent, I want to say lost talent.
Well, yeah. Well, just because my grandmother did it. So that's what drew me to it. But then the more I learned about it, it's so natural. Everyone has lips. Yeah. So you don't have to have an instrument case or anything. And then, fortunately, because of the invention of recording was near that time, there's some really good recordings of like Alice Shaw and some of the more well-known at the time whistlers. So it was just listening to that. And I did find out there is an international whistling competition that still goes on today.
Still?
Yep. It's held every other year in either LA or Japan.
Oh, wow.
And I actually went to the one in LA. The person in charge found out about my book, and she had done a dissertation about the saying whistling women and crowing hens.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, she invited me out there, and there were about 80 whistlers from around the world, all over Argentina, Costa Rica, Japan, Korea.
Interesting.
And they did competitions in classic whistling, like with classic music, and then also current, like pop music whistling, and different age groups. And it was fascinating. Very niche group.
Combine that with yodeling, that'd be, never mind. I don't know how that would work. I don't know. Yeah. That may not work too well. Well, actually, how does whistling serve as a metaphor for Birdie finding her own unique voice?
Well, that, it wasn't like I set out that that's what it was going to be, but it definitely does, that she can whistle in perfect pitch, and it takes her a while, and she goes back and forth, but she does find her voice and who she is on this summer's journey. So definitely a metaphor for that.
All right. So have you tried whistling?
I can whistle, but not in perfect pitch, and not like a trained concert whistler.
Oh, so all right. I won't call you out and ask you to do it then. Because then you'll turn it right around on me and make me do it. And I don't know about whistling into a microphone.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. I haven't done that before.
Yeah, that could be kind of hard. All right, so the book is set against the backdrop of the Chautauqua movement, which massive cultural phenomenon in the 1920s.
Yep.
Can you describe the atmosphere of the Chautauqua circuit? And why was this a perfect setting for a story about female empowerment and education?
Well, wonderful question. Thank you. So Chautauqua circuits, which again I'd never heard of, but they affected all of the United States, not just my story set in the Northeast part of the United States, but Chautauquas were all over. And the whole idea behind them was to educate rural America. And they brought in lecturers, highbrow music, and theater. And they had women lecturers, believe it or not. But the small towns would basically shut down for 3 to 5 days, and everyone in town would come to these tent shows or Chautauquas. So once I found out about those, it just made sense to me to have it be about a young woman who was finding her voice and becoming empowered, because that's kind of what the Chautauquas were doing, in their way. They had, mixed different people who did the performances and did the lectures, but I just had thought it was so interesting. And the 1920s is a great, era to write a book, because so much was changing. The prosperity after the World War, after the Spanish flu, things were just much more open. People felt more free. Women were definitely changing their fashion along with their opinions, and some of them were starting to work, which was all new. So it was just such a wonderful time, rich with women's empowerment through the suffragette movement that had just kind of happened. So yeah, it was great. The more I learned, the more it made sense.
It was like the invention of TED Talks without the internet.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and they just kind of traveled.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so with the because one of the things I love about the 20s, and those of you listening know I was not alive back then, but while we often think of the 20s as just jazz and gin,
right.
You explore the lives of women working professional circuits and striving for careers over marriage, and Birdie struggles against the straight-laced expectations of her sister Lydia.
Yes.
So how does the book challenge our modern stereotypes of what life was like for a young woman in 1924?
Yeah, it definitely, because that was what we think of jazz and gin and bathtub and the flappers. That was all in mostly the urban areas, still all across America, not just limited to New York City, but also, Seattle, San Francisco, Philadelphia. But the majority of the United States women weren't as into flappers or into jazz and, speakeasy. So I felt like I needed to give those women a voice, because that represented a lot. So, yeah, I really tried hard to not have it be too much flapper, but it was, what the flappers represented, and their dress, their styles, their hats, their haircuts, their little terminology that they used in their language, that all did trickle down to most women through magazines, or just, word of mouth, that kind of thing. So I had little bits of it sprinkled in there, but it was really important to me to do a lot of research and figure out what the quote unquote average American woman was dealing with. And they had their own push-pull within their own selves of adopting to the modern way of thinking, or also not. There was a lot going on. A lot of churches were, they were preaching against all the changes. The families were, pushing against it. So there was a lot for young women of that era to deal with.
All right. So with the Versatile Quintet, and I want to talk about the research here for a minute, because you found the stuff on about Birdie, which was, all right, no, she was not related to you. You found it, your grandmother gave you the box.
Right. Yeah, I found the box actually through my mom. And my grandmother had long since passed. But I found these brochures, and in the brochure was a versatile quintet. So that's why I used that name. Like, as much as I could, I stuck to what I researched and found, or my grandmother. But my grandmother's name was Verna, and she's not like Birdie at all. She was definitely like her in some ways. My grandmother was unbelievably persistent, and she did travel with a Chautauqua. It was called Swarthmore Chautauqua, and she did it for 3 summers.
Oh, wow.
And then she met her husband, my grandpa, and married and had children, where that's not the way I had Birdie go. So,
all right. So with the Versatile Quintet, were you able to speak with anybody who had families? Any families that had people that were actually in that, I want to say the Versatile Quintet that made it up, or even anybody from that movement?
Yeah, I actually didn't get to talk to any people live about the Chautauqua movement. I went to the Chautauqua Institute in New York, At the very beginning. There's a Chautauqua Institute in New York.
Oh, wow.
And the whole name Chautauqua is actually based on the name of the lake there in upstate New York, and it's called Lake Chautauqua, and it means, transcribed from the indigenous people, it means two moccasins tied together.
Somebody was playing a prank.
Yeah. But now the word's been appropriated to mean this movement of, educating rural America. But
okay.
So the Institute was started back in the late 1900s late 1800s, sorry. And the intention was to teach Sunday school teachers, and then it kind of moved to being this education movement. And then so I thought I could find a lot of information there and maybe even interview some people. But unfortunately, the Chautauqua Institute never sanctioned all the circuits. The circuits were started by entrepreneurial business people or colleges and so the Institute almost thinks the Chautauqua circuits are like bad. So they had absolutely no information in their library about the Chautauqua circuits.
Sounds like another book.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
But the Institute's still there today, and people travel there for the summer. People own homes there, and they still do all the education. And are you familiar with, did you hear about how Salman Rushdie got stabbed several years ago? I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah, I can't.
It was at Chautauqua. He was giving a presentation, because Chautauqua has all these outdoor amphitheaters, and it was there where he got stabbed.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right. So, I did not know that. See, now you got me wanting to research this stuff. All right. So with the Versatile Quintet.
Yes, the 5 women. Yeah.
The troop experiences both traumatic events and deep joy together in the book. Yeah. How does the found family of the quintet provide Birdie with the strength she couldn't find at home?
Oh, I think so. Well, just female friendship. And even though they were strangers when they first met, they encouraged each other. They wanted each other to do their best on stage and off stage. So I think she found her way through these friendships with these women who she may not have chosen to be friends in a different setting, but since they were on the road together, and you know how it is when you travel with people, you learn a lot more about them and yourselves. And then just women friendship, I thought that was so important to talk about, because you do form these friendships when you're all together like that.
Yeah.
And the 5 women are very different. I had a hard time at first differentiating the women in my writing, and my writer's critique group were like, okay, Melora, I don't know who's who. You got to. So I spent a lot of time writing, getting to know each of the 5 women separately. And one of my writer's friends said, you need to write the same scene from all 5 point of views. Oh. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. And he's like, no, you got to do that. Because I didn't want to do it because it wouldn't go in my book. My book is third person from Birdie's point of view. But once I did it, it changed my writing. It made it so much better, because then I really knew each of the 5 women and what, Flo's personality versus Adele's, or Mary's versus Helen's. Like, I definitely got to know the 5 women by doing that. It took a lot of time that never got in the book, but it was well worth it.
So actually, tell us a little bit about Lydia.
Oh yes, the older sister.
Yeah.
So again, I tried to kind of stick to my grandma's story when I first wrote it, and my grandmother was one of 8 siblings.
Wow.
And there was no way I could put 8 siblings in my book. It was already a challenge to have 5, the versatile quintet. So I had her have a sister and a brother, and Lydia and Edwin. And in the beginning, I had her sister Lydia encourage her and tell her to, go do this. It's exciting. And again, in one of my writers' workshops, they're like, no. You have to have a reason that Birdie wants to leave. Like, you need that catalyst event that Birdie has this nice life, or whatever kind of life, but she wants to leave. that's the whole hero's journey thing. So I changed it to where Lydia, loves Birdie in her own way, but she also is trying to control her. She feels like she's the mom or whatever. She takes it way too seriously to push her ideals and her way on to Birdie, so that Birdie felt oppressed and had to make a change. And then she auditioned and made the change.
How long did this actually take you to write? From when you from that first letter you wrote down to when you got it published?
Until I got it published.
To when the manuscript was finished after editing and everything.
That was about 8 years.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. Because again, I'm not a full-time writer. Right. I was learning to write as well as writing, and I was living a life, and I went through some pretty major life changes during that time. So, it took me 8 years.
So you started writing this when you were still a full-time CPA, I take it then.
Well, I was down to like 20 to 30 hours when I started writing.
Okay. And you were taking, that's when you started taking the classes too?
Yeah, started taking writing classes, reading books, listening to podcasts. There's so many amazing podcasts out there. And I joined an online writer's critique group during COVID. And we met every week. And I mean, this book has literally changed my life, because I met the writer's critique group. The majority of them were from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And when I went through my divorce in 2022, I wanted to leave Texas where I was living, and, for various reasons. Right. And I didn't know where to move. My adult children, none of them were settled. And really, honestly, none of them said, "Hey, Mom, move here." Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm going to move somewhere. And I went and house sat for one of my writer's friends here in North Carolina and fell in love with the area. And I thought, you know what? I know 4 people there. I can move there. And here I am, 3 years later, here I am still. And I love, 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 love North Carolina.
Things happen for a reason. If you want to join that writer's group, then... And actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because aspiring authors need to know this. How important was the critique part of that writers group? Oh
my gosh, I would not be sitting here talking to you or have a published book if it weren't for my writers critique group. And you have to be open to critique. Mm-hmm. And I'm very fortunate that my group was really good at giving positive critique. We all believe each other can be better writers. And so that's how they approached it. They didn't try to cut me down. They were just trying to help me be a better writer and make my story stronger and better and tighter. So the critique was so important, and some of the changes they recommended are, what makes it the novel it is today. Yeah. So I highly, highly recommend anyone writing. Yes, it's a solitary sport, but you have to be in a group to make yourself better.
Yeah, you have to know how to give constructive criticism. Yes. But you also need to know how to take it.
Right, exactly. Well. And all throughout life, not just writing.
Well, yeah. But I actually spoke at a local writers group here during COVID, because it was virtual, and I sat in on one of the critiques, and oh my God, it's amazing. I definitely recommend a writers group for anybody that wants to write, even if you're already written. I don't care, 1 or even 1,000 books. It's still important. I want to go back a moment. Okay. To that, your grandmother's mementos.
Yes.
What was one of the most surprising things you found in that box, and how much of Birdie's journey is actually rooted in your own family's history?
Well, so probably the most surprising thing I found was this beautiful scrapbook. It's one of those black ones with, in the photographs are all, yellowed, and they're put in with those little black corners. And, yes. I think her friends must have made it for her, because there's all these little notes with like a white pen. And that's where I got a lot of the nerds, or some of the explanation or little word phrases I got from that scrapbook. But the pictures, you can do so much with a picture to help describe the people, the setting, the feeling, so all those photographs really helped me. But as far as your second part of the question, I tried to stay as true to what I found as far as the setting, the writing on the trains, the versatile quintet. Like if you're a musician, you think, okay, why did they put these 5 musicians together? Because it's a piano player, a harp player, a trombone player, a banjo, and a violin. Like there's no arrangement for those 5. Like, come on. But that's what they put together. And I used that from the brochure I found, that advertised the 5 women in my grandmother's versatile quintet. So like everything like that, I stayed true to. I traveled to Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and I went to their college library, and the librarian there helped me so much. And they literally had cardboard boxes full of documents from their Chautauqua. So like the train schedule, the cities, that's another thing. If you look, you think, why are they going from here to here? But I used the schedule that I found in those papers that they actually traveled. So I tried to stay as true to my family story and the actual Chautauqua circuit experience as I could.
Okay. You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I want to share something really special about a company that I not only trust, but also use and also truly admire. Freedom Federal Credit Union. Why Freedom? Because they go beyond everyday banking to really make a difference in our community. They've established the Freedom to Help Foundation, which actively supports local initiatives, making our neighborhoods stronger and more connected. Whether it's promoting financial education or backing community projects, Freedom Federal Credit Union is there, investing in our shared future. And it's not just about community programs. I trust them because they provide excellent personal and business banking services that make managing finances straightforward and secure. Their commitment to our community and their members really sets them apart. So if you're looking for a financial partner that aligns with your values and actively contributes to bettering the community, check out Freedom Federal Credit Union. Visit them today at freedomfcu.org or call 1-800-440-4120. Join me in banking where it matters. And all right, so when you were writing this, how much did you learn?
Oh, everything.
Well,
everything in there.
Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
What was the biggest thing that actually, almost like an aha moment for you when you were writing this?
Oh, gosh.
Something that really surprised you.
Wow, I have to think about that. Because I just felt like every day I was getting surprises.
Right.
Well, like personally, I think the thing that surprised me the most was just my grandmother, being a paid concert whistler, because she actually went on and whistled with the Navy band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I had no idea that she did that. She died when I was 8, and I have one memory of her whistling when I was a little girl. We were sitting in their backyard, and she was basically having a whistling conversation with the nearby songbirds, and she had no food out or anything, and they would hop closer and closer to her. So I was convinced she was Snow White. So I had no idea that she did this, beautiful musical type concert whistling. So that was a very personal surprise. And then I think over the whole umbrella of the novel, probably how strong women and how independent, and there were women out in the world that were finding their own careers and were working and supporting themselves, even though they couldn't have a bank account or they couldn't own land, like all that stuff. Just the more I found out about your quote unquote average woman, how strong and resilient and persistent they were, I think, because you just hear about the flappers or the, speakeasies, and the women were kind of sidebarred where they're, women aren't, and they still aren't today. So, I just was fascinated by that and really wanted that in my story.
Do you think this was like perfect timing for the book to come out?
Oh yeah. And yeah, the book to come out. And like for me personally, I firmly believe like that box. My dad was in the Navy, and then he was a professor who liked to teach, but not publish. And so
Right.
my parents, we moved all over the United States. So that box had traveled all over with my parents. And it wasn't until at this time in my life where I had time to do the research and do the writing that I found it. Like, it just blows me away that I never had seen that box before.
Wow.
So I believe in serendipity, and I believe in things happening when you need them to happen. And, I don't know if it's God or my grandmother or my mom. Like, I don't know who had their hand in it, or maybe all of them.
So, all right. So who's this book for? And don't say it's for for you or your grandmother. I meant reader wise. Who is this for?
I think it's for anyone, whatever your gender. I think it's for anyone who, one, wants to know something about history that they didn't know. Like you said in your intro, a corner of history that hasn't been developed or understood or explained. So I think it's for that. The people with a curious mind. I think it's a great story of hope and believing in yourself, no matter your age. Like, I chose to write it about a younger woman, but while I was writing it, I was kind of going through my own finding my voice. So right. I think it can appeal to anyone of any age. So, and it just someone who wants a good read with strong characters, because for me, books with strong characters are the ones I remember. So that's what my hope is, that the readers remember the characters.
Did you find your voice?
I did find my voice. Here I am.
Good. Something else, and I think this would be pretty wild. Have you, you may have found them, I don't know, but have you found any recordings of the whistlers? Especially because you say your grandmother used to whistle as well, right?
Yeah. I actually, both my parents have passed since I wrote the book, but we actually found a recording of my grandmother whistling. My brother found it. It's a recording where she whistles bird songs and another song. She and her older sister, Lena, played the musical saws together. They played down by the old mill stream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then my mom actually sings America the Beautiful on it. So, yeah, it's a family treasure. And my brother found it. And we have it now. We shared it on MP3 or whatever. I don't know the technology, but whatever.
All right. How many songs are there, or how many things? Let me rephrase this. How much time is there of your grandmother whistling? Maybe
about 12 minutes. 12 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
Have you guys thought about this? Could be pretty interesting. But somehow or another, I don't know, putting like a QR code in the book or whatever, where it'll lead people to, because you can put that on Spotify.
Yeah, we're trying to. My middle child helps me with all my web page design and social media, and we're trying to figure out how to get it on my website. Just my grandmother whistling, and they're working with me on it.
Well, if you have it as MP3, you could just upload it.
Yeah. We're hesitant to. Well, we want to make sure, with family history, it's tricky. Yeah. So I don't want to offend any of my living relatives. And then I also want to make sure, maybe not upload the whole thing. We're trying to piece it up a little to have it mostly be my grandmother whistling. Yeah. But that's definitely a goal.
Okay. I think, I mean, to me, that would be pretty wild, especially when you're talking about the 20s, and because a lot of people are going to be like, wait, a whistler, concert whistler.
I know.
What?
Well, so I do have a Spotify playlist that's available, and it's linked on my website called Whistling Women and Crowing Hens. And it's got all the music that's mentioned in my book. There's a version of that song in my playlist. And there's also some songbird whistling, but like when I mentioned the aria from the Lucia de l'Amour opera, I probably said that wrong. So, but that's in there. The trombones march, the Sousa marches, it's all in there.
Oh, wow.
but it's on Spotify. So,
and that's on your website.
And it's, the link to it's on my website.
Which, something very important, tell everybody the website.
Yeah, so it's cleverly named Melora Fern, MELORAFERN. And just a shout out to my middle child who has spent a lot of time making it really clever and cool.
All right.
Thank goodness for these kids, right?
So, tricky question for you. How hard was it for you to go from calling yourself a CPA? All right, that was just weird. Did I just hear whistling?
I don't know.
It may have been a bird.
Maybe a bird.
Do you have a window open or something?
No, I don't have a window open, but I am fairly near a window.
Okay, it had to be a bird. I heard this. That's pretty, man, I can't wait to play this back now and here. But how hard was it for you to go from calling yourself a CPA to now an authorpreneur?
It took quite a bit. And my, my writer's critique group telling me, you're a writer, you're an author. And
which is the difference.
Yeah. No, and it's hard. And I think the hardest critics are the people who've known me forever who are like, wait, what? You wrote a book and is it good? Like I'll have friends from long ago come up to me and say, man, your book was really good. I was so surprised. And you're kind of like, okay, is that a compliment? But I have that same inner conversation, even with a published book, sadly, we defeat ourselves often. Mm-hmm. So I have to convince myself, yes, I'm a published author and it's okay to tell people about my book. I get embarrassed, but it is okay to tell people about my book.
Absolutely. You better be telling people.
I am. I've gotten very good. You would laugh. I can even go to a restaurant and if I hear someone talking, I can tell them about my book.
And actually, so what did writing this book teach you about yourself?
Oh, so much. How long do you have?
Go ahead.
Well, definitely I found my voice and confidence.
Right.
And it helped me with a lot of insecurities I have. Again, I went through a divorce while writing this. Yeah. So I figured out who Melora is.
Good.
And that, I now have a lot more confidence. Probably before I started writing this, I would have not been able to do a podcast because I just didn't feel confident in talking about myself. But I've learned that it's okay. And and like you said, you have to promote your book. You have to promote yourself.
You love yourself a lot more now, don't you?
Yes, I definitely do. Definitely do. And good. I believe in myself. And I would say the research, I've always been curious. I was an auditor when I worked in, before I had my own clients. When I started, I was an auditor. So you have to to ask questions. And I've just carried that on into my research. I'm very curious. And, I could spend 2 or 3 days on one topic and then maybe 2 sentences end up in the book. But I don't feel it's wasted time at all. I love knowing all this history and knowing all these really fascinating facts. And I especially love hearing other people's family stories. I think everyone has a really cool family story if you think about it, and I'd love to hear more and more and get more of them out there in the writing world.
Do you feel like there could be a sequel to this?
Well, I am working on my second book. I've been doing a lot of research. So one of the only real people in the book is named Agnes Woodward.
Okay.
And she started a women's whistling school. It was some men, but mostly women in LA in 1910. That was all
for real?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I've done a lot of research on her since then. And she's just fascinating to me. She was actually a fairly well-known opera singer up in Detroit area. And she abused her voice where she got those nodules. So she couldn't sing anymore. And she, talking about resilience and pivoting, she pivoted to whistling and taught herself to whistle. And she developed this method called the bird method. And So I'm writing, my next novel is about her and her life, kind of. But in my book, Birdie, I don't want to give the ending away, but Birdie,
definitely don't.
Birdie definitely crosses paths with Agnes Woodward, and so Birdie's and Helen will probably make an appearance in my second book, but not really a sequel, but a continuation a little bit.
Have you always loved history?
I guess so. I wouldn't have said it probably.
Right. Well, because growing up, I was, I really wasn't into history. But as I got older, I love history so much more, whether it be local, U.S. or even worldwide, whatever.
Right.
I just found myself loving it more. But little things like this, the things that when it comes to history, you don't think about, like a concert whistler. To me, that's amazing. That's something that, well, like you said in the beginning, it's not taught in history class.
Right. No, I completely agree. And like the whole Chautauqua movement, like in 1924, that was like the height of the Chautauqua movement. And they say there were over 10,000 towns that had Chautauquas come to them. There were over 1,000 different Chautauqua circuits out. And they say they reached like 40 million people.
Wow.
So in my mind, that's such a huge part of our history. And probably indirectly, we're all benefited somehow from the Chautauqua circuits. But it's nothing that we learned about in school. At least I didn't.
At least I don't believe I did.
Yeah. So I just
really
find
don't remember a lot
that
that I learned at school.
I know, same here. It's all kind of a rosy blur.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So something very interesting, because this is amazing. The cover. Who designed that?
So the small press that I went with is called Sibline Press, and it's women owned, and one of the owners is the artist.
Okay.
And I love the cover. I think she just nailed it as far as the colors and the feeling that I wanted to invoke with the cover. So I'm so pleased.
All right. Is the cardinal supposed to represent somebody?
Well, the cardinal, and then the other bird that is up there is a barn swallow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are two key birds in the book. The cardinal, Birdie and her friend Helen kind of developed their own little calling card, which is the cardinal's whistle to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the barn swallow is another a bird that Birdie kind of follows along. She loves watching the barn swallows fly and everything. So, they have meaning in the book. And then the train, I just love having the train in the background. And then the number one thing I told the artist was that I really wanted the protagonist facing the reader. Because if you look at a lot of historical fiction books, the female protagonist, it's their silhouette or their back.
Right.
And I was like, this is a story about a woman finding her voice. She has to be facing the reader.
Well, the other thing that I like, and those of you listening, I think this will even attract you to the book even more. The chapters aren't named, you know how you see most chapters named. They're named after towns.
Right.
And explain why you did that. So those listening know why they need to purchase this book, because it's all Chesterfield, Maryland.
Yeah. No, the towns are the different towns they visited. So the Chautauqua Circuit back then in 1924 traveled by train mostly. Mm-hmm. And so there are different towns that were on the train routes that they went to visit. And so that's why I named each town, because I thought it was important, one, to help ground the reader where they are, because the performers are constantly moving. And two, it just gave me a whole nother way to research about each of the towns. Because I wanted to make sure when the Versatile Quintet got off the train and they turned right to go towards a hotel or a boarding house, I had the street name. I had looked at a map and I had the right street name. I knew which way downtown was. I knew I had an idea of where the tents would be set up. Again, that was all part of my research to make it as authentic. And I love to visit book clubs of people who have read the book, and I was at one here locally, and I met a guy who had gone to Swarthmore College, and he just made my day because he said, "You made me feel like I was sitting back on the campus," because the Swarthmore campus is like a botanical garden, and I was so excited.
Oh, wow.
That was like, okay, validation.
Something very important, because most authors, and this came out May of last year, May of 2025.
Correct. Yeah.
You're not self-published, correct?
No, it's a small press published, so independent publisher. Yeah.
All right, because a lot of your publishers will not do an audiobook version until like a year later.
Yeah.
You already have that done.
I know. I got so lucky. Yeah. They shopped it out and it got picked up right away. And yeah, it just came out in February, and the person reading it, I think it's Janelle. I don't have her name off the top of my head, but anyway, she does a fantastic job, and she even does different accents for each of the versatile quintet, which
that's important.
Yeah, but what a talented voice actor, and I just am so pleased with it. And yeah, I'm hoping that'll boost sales again.
All right, so I take it you listened to the audiobook version of it then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you feel that, and I don't want to see this as a movie, do you feel this could become like a TV series?
I would love that. I can see it in my mind. Like, are you familiar with Call the Midwife, that movie series? Well, it's about a group of women that were nurses after World War II in London. Oh. But this book, to me, lends itself to be a series like that, because the cast could continually be changing with each season. You could bring in different performers or women lecturers or male. You could just bring in so many different characters, and each season would still be the Chautauqua circuit. But yeah, I could see it as a series. I would love that. So
yeah, I think
who knows, right? We'll put it out there in the universe.
Maybe somebody, maybe a screenwriter listening to this and say, "Oh, let me pick this up and look at it."
Yeah.
So before I get to my last question, well, actually, first, before I even say that, those of you listening, make sure you pick up Whistling Women and Crowing Hens by Melora Fern. And after you read it, make sure you leave a full review, whether it be on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes, wherever you can leave reviews, and purchase a copy for other people. And actually, if you're the type like me back in the day, we had this thing called books on tape, where driving down the road, we could put our cassette tape in the car. Yeah. And listen to it. Well, all right, we know they really don't have cassette tapes anymore. Most of you people either have the jack where you can plug in your phone, which you could do for audiobook, or even a CD. Guess what? It's available on CD as well. So you can listen to it while you're driving, not just on audiobook, but on CD. So make sure you do that as well. So anything you would like to add before I get to my last question?
No, this has just been absolutely delightful. I'm having a fun time, so thank you.
It was my honor, and of course you have to come on again when the next book comes out.
Right. Hopefully not 8 years.
No. Well, you see, now you're a pro. You can see you're a pro because what's a professional? Somebody gets paid for what they're doing.
Right.
So, right. I mean, if somebody buys one of your books, you're getting paid, and people already buying their books, because I'm looking on Amazon. You have a lot of good reviews, 4.7.
Yeah.
And as of now, those of you listening, we're recording this on March 11th. Actually, isn't this Women History Month?
Yes, it is. Yeah, wow. Great month of March. Yep.
Kind of funny how this came around. And as of today, it is, I didn't know this was a category, number 411 in LGBTQ plus historical fiction.
Yep.
2,661 in 20th century historical romance. 6,483 in women's friendship fiction. That's, those numbers may sound high to a lot of people, But that is awesome. When you look at all the books out there.
I know there's millions of books out there.
Especially on Amazon. A lot of people are self-publishing and everything.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. So congratulations to you, because you are, I'm going to say it, you are kicking ass. And for your first book, that is amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Very exciting.
So I need you to pick a number between 1 and 100.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll pick 33.
Why 33? Okay. I figured you would have picked like 24 because 1924, but that's okay.
33 is my lucky number.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, that works. Actually, I guess that is an angel number, isn't it? I'll have to look that up. What's a small change you've made that has had a surprisingly big impact? And no, you cannot say becoming an author.
Well, that was a big change.
Well, yeah.
Oh gosh, I got to think on the spot here. A small change I've made that's had a big impact.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a small change that I've made is I used to just be on social media to scroll and not comment or not do anything. So I think my kids helped me become more open on social media and kind of lose my inhibition of recording myself and making reels. And
Right.
so now I post regularly on social media with reels and, things like about Women's Month, History Month, and it's really made an impact on me that I'm having fun.
Good.
And I never thought I would have fun. And social media, I have mixed feelings. Like I have like 350 followers. It's not like I have this huge presence, but I'm just having fun with it. And I now write blogs and they're on Substack, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And it's made an impact on me, on how I think and my comfort level of presenting myself. So
Probably makes it easier for you as well when you go to like the book fairs and everything, right?
yeah. No, and it's just, I don't know. My blogs are nothing monumental, but I'm kind of continuing to find my voice through them and everything. So
Good.
It's been good and fun.
Good. Well, Melora, I want to thank you so much. It's been an honor. Those of you listening, again, make sure you pick up Whistling Women and Crowing Hens by Melora Fern. Leave that review and purchase copies for other people. And make sure you follow her on Amazon as well, because when you follow an author on Amazon, you'll be notified when a new release comes out.
That's right.
And I guess your social media things are on your website, right?
Yes, they're all on my website, but
Okay.
also all under Melora Fern. So you can find me.
And sign up for her newsletter as well.
Yes.
Melora,
Thank you.
thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.